Hey guys, welcome to another mixing tutorial. Let's take a look at this cover of Deadnest, the new Monument song. Should be a quick one. There's not a lot of layers to it, as you can see. Let's turn off the Master Bus plugins, explain them at the end. Start with drums. So these are the latest drums that I've been using, King Lake drums by Lance Brents. And I got this drum sound on the Alpha Wolf Sub-Zero mixing tutorial. So if you want to check out the full rundown on all the plugins in this drum sound, you go to that mixing tutorial where it's very well explained. What is the only difference is that instead of the Tama Bell Brass High, which I think I used on Alpha Wolf, I went down to the low tuning for this Monument song, which is very cool. Very heavy. Yeah. Other than that, maybe I tweaked the level of the cymbals because it was a bit loud. I do a little bit of changes sometimes to the drum sound, but the basis is in that Alpha Wolf mixing tutorial, which you can go check out right now. So bass. Real bass. Those edits without crossfades. But yeah, this song, I wanted to play the bass because it had a prominent bass part. So I had to play the whole thing, and it honestly feels very good to play bass again. I've been programming it a lot, and just playing it is a completely different sound. This mix is by Joel Wanasek, so no shot I'm going to use anything else than Joel Wanasek Buskill bass, because it's what's on the original. Like, you can see it's the same character, different EQ and different bass, but it's literally what's going on. Joel Wanasek Buskill bass on distortion A, maximum compression. A little bit of taming those mids because my strings are super dead, super honky. They have a lot of this. Amplified instrument processor. Oops, sorry, let me put the phone down. Quite a few important things. High-end filter here, one of the more important ones at 8K. Gets rid of a little bit of fizz. Proprietary signal processing here for the subs, and a big mid-range boost, 6 dB at 1.8. Completely changes the character of the bass. Into a rouser for a compression, basically stock, but I increased the ratio. Just makes it very consistent without destroying it like a limiter could. And guitars. So you can hear the snarliness of my Schecter. Cool. Using tools that I haven't used in a little bit. It's cool to see all the variety of tones that I can get out of them. Into, again, an old favorite. So I'm turning back to old favorites. Dan Corneff's first profile on this JCM, it just does the Monuments. It does a tone that I associate with Monuments, which is a very dry tone that reacts a lot to your picking and doesn't give it a lot of sustain. It's just dependent on how hard you pick. No EQ apparently. Cool. Literally just a palm mute control. Probably for this part here. compression. Very fast release on guitars because I don't want them to get buried, and a slow attack to make sure that the pick attack comes through in sections like these. Makes him jump out a little bit more. Saturn gives a different fullness. You can hear it in the chord parts. Makes the whole spectrum sound more full, which I like, and it also diffuses a little bit of the harshness, which you can further diffuse with a little bit of soothe on top. Here's a usual recipe you guys know by me. Same tone as the rhythms into little plate. Gives you this wet lead sound. Any reverb will do. This is just my favorite of all time. And I usually do 100, but since this lead is meant to be more aggressive, I back it off to give it some grit in the center. Check it out. Very cool. Then it's all about controlling it a little bit. Very slight moves. This damn lead, I have no idea what's played on the original. It's so fucking buried. So I just played anything that sounded close to it. Literally this on repeat. Profile 2, just to have a different amp. It's apparently the same cabinet and the same mic, so it's not going to detach too hard from the rhythm tone. Heavier EQ to make it more tight as a lead. A little bit of stereo ambience. And to cheat the fact that I think I hear higher notes in there, I blend it with an octave up before the amplifier, like this. Whatever, man. Being lazy, what are you gonna do? And then I add a little bit of explosion spice. This explosion has proven to be a little bit mid-rangey for my taste, so I usually take some of that off. And we master it. So the cymbals, because of the tones I chose on guitars and bass today, they aren't super present in the very, very high end, and the cymbals were sticking out there. Gullfoss usually brings all that sheen back into the whole mix, but since the cymbals were already super present in this area compared to everything else, I backed off the detection from like 11K and above. So recover is just recovering stuff in the bass, mids, not really in the super high end. It becomes more about balancing the mids, which is pretty cool too. Bus compressor, I struggled on this mix because the snare, for some reason, very pokey. I don't know. So trying to cut it off here, I said and tried, But then just slow attack sounded better. So I ended up going for the inverse of what I usually do, which is cutting the snare off. I tried to make it pop out, probably because it's a little bit too limited. But then I gotta check again when I redo the drum sound. And it's just pumping the entire mix a little bit so you hear a little bit of energy. Brings everything together really loudly. And Joel Wanasek mix, we still steal Joel Wanasek's tricks. What a nice rhyme. Linear multiband on your master bus. What does it do? Basically, it's a compressor. It's another style of mixed bus compressing, but instead of being the whole frequency spectrum, you can individually dial every frequency. Joel Wanasek leaves this flat because the normal detection tends to be very heavy towards the mid-range, which means it ducks the mid-range for a smiley face mix. Check it out. A very aggressive sound. You can almost recognize my mix closer to that one if I crank this. I usually don't like it that much, so I back off the range on the mid one and I get a more flat response. That's still compression with a different character. And then just run it through ozone. I didn't think a lot. I just cranked it down until it sounded bad and then I dial it back. That's usually what I do. Usually looking to see kick and snare getting chopped off. That was a very fast mixing tutorial, guys. This song didn't have a lot of layers, like I said, but it's still a very fun song. It was so hard to learn. This song is very hard to play front to back. I am tired. Exposing myself to my dear patrons who support me very much. Other people can know I struggle, but you can know the struggle. So thank you very much for your support. I hope you've been enjoying all the mixing tutorials. Please watch all the previous ones because your support covers access to all of them. Leave any questions down below and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.